Okay, so I'm gonna put it on the TV.
Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of Mobility Flow Live. So happy to have you here today on this Wednesday afternoon. So our topic for today is mobility to enhance your squat. So I'm going to be very specific about what I mean by that. So today's not about teaching the squat, as the squat is very individualized to you based on your skeletal structure, your range of motion, your mobility demands slash restrictions. It's a very unique movement pattern to teach to your very unique structure. Today is about prepping the body for the squat movement pattern, which would require us to move through range of motion of the ankles, the knees, the hip joint, and actually even the spine. For a lot of people that are stuck or jammed up in the upper portion of the spine, that will actually impact the mobility of their squat as well. So we're going to look at that and address that as well. The squat is a primitive instinct movement, meaning that we do it naturally every day, whether we're aware of it or not. We do a squat pattern multiple times a day. Even the hinge pattern, we bend down, we pick things up, we lunge forward, we turn. But one of the things that we do often is we sit down on things. So we squat, we sit down on chairs, we sit down on couches, we sit in our car, we sit on the toilet. So whether we're aware of it or not, we're actually squatting every day. So today's class is all about building that functional movement pattern of the squat itself. We will look at the squat a little bit today, but again, we're not kind of teaching how a squat should be because everyone is going to be very, very different. So we're going to look at the spine, the ankles, the knees, and the hips today, so that hopefully you can move better in your daily lives, which as a movement specialist, it's always my goal for people is to have them move better throughout their daily lives. So let's get going. So you're going to need just 2 blocks for this class today, and that's it. So we're going to get started on our back. I maybe suggest that you bring one of your blocks with you on your back, just as a means to support the head. You can always, since you're at home, you can always use a pillow or a blanket as well, but go ahead and grab a block and start down on the back. And then one of the blocks is actually going to be used for the inner thighs as well. So go ahead and get on down there. Okay. All right. So if you want to put your block behind your head, again, that's very individualized. It's very, very up to you. It just depends on what your neck is doing. So if you've got a big arch in the neck and the shoulders are rolled forward, you're probably going to have to elevate the head, which is going to allow you to draw the shoulders back. But if you feel comfortable with your head on the floor, then you're perfectly fine. All right. So we're going to work a little bit with the hips. So you're going to start knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Allow your low back to just relax into the ground. Don't flatten it. Don't overarch it. Just allow it to come to its anatomical neutral for you. So we're going to start with a little hip circle. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the right knee in towards the chest. Okay. I like to keep my foot flexed. You do what feels good for you. But as I pull that knee into the chest, I want to pay attention that I'm not trying to roll my butt up off the floor. And now without letting my torso move, I'm going to make a big circle over towards the right. So I'm going to circle over towards the right, opening that hip fully. So I'm getting a little bit into the groin, and I'm trying to keep my left foot on the floor. Then I want to think about circling that all the way down to the bottom of my mat. So now my leg is actually straight. Then I want to circle the leg across the body towards that left knee. So it's kind of like going across. And then I'm going to return to exactly where I was, and I'm just going to keep going. So I want to open through the groin, which is kind of like your bottom position for the squat. Let the leg go straight, drag it across the body. And let's do just 2 more like that. So nice, big open, but watch that you're not using your torso to do this. You're using the thigh bone. Now your low back may be moving a little bit across the body. That's okay. But we want to minimize how much the torso is going. Let's do 1 more like that. So big open circle. Good, cross the body. And then pull the knee back in towards the chest. Okay, now you're going to take that right ankle, you're going to go ahead and you're going to cross it over the top of that left thigh, you're going to flex the foot. Common mistake that people do here is they drive the knee open, okay, which is going to kind of make your pelvis shift into like a kind of down slip. So I want you to just kind of find the amount of rotation that you actually have. So both sides of the lower back stay nice and level. Now I'm going to bring that left leg up to 90 degrees. So knee over hip crease, shin bone parallel to the ceiling, both ankles are flexed. If your shoulders pull forward when you do this, put that block behind your head. Now all I'm going to do with my hands, take my right hand, put it on the inside of my right knee, take my left hand, put it on the inside of my right ankle. Now we're going to create an action of a push-pull. So all I'm going to do, and this is going to be a simultaneous action, is I'm going to pull the left leg towards me as I simultaneously push the legs away from me. Okay? So it kind of looks, from my angle, if you're watching me, it looks like I'm not really doing anything, but I'm actually creating a lot of tension. So I'm pushing the left leg towards me as I simultaneously, or pull it towards me, excuse me, while I simultaneously push the legs away from me. And I'm just building a little bit of heat in the body, okay? Building a little bit of what's kind of referred to as like active range motion, where I'm assisting myself with the range, okay? And I'm just gonna hold there. And I'm just gonna relax my hands, and I'm gonna see if my range of motion can change. I'm gonna pull that left leg a little closer into the body. Yeah, for some of you that may not have happened, don't push it, okay? Do the same thing again. I'm gonna push away and I'm gonna pull towards. Maybe you're feeling your abdomen tense up. Then I'm going to release the hands. I'm going to pull that left leg in. One more time here. I'm going to push. I'm going to pull. Now this time, let's inhale through the nose. As you exhale through the nose, let it release and pull in. Fantastic. Good. Go ahead and put that on the floor. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. So my circle is going to look a little funny because I have the couch in the way. So I'm just going to scoot over, but you guys kind of get the gist of what we're doing. So same thing, left leg. So I'm going to pull that left leg in. I like ankle flex. You guys decide. Okay, now the big part is I open. Okay, this is going to kind of be your bottom position squat. Get into that groin. Let the leg go straight down. Let it cross the body and go again. Big open. Straight. Cross the body. Two more there. Big open. Straight again. Limit how much your torso is going. Across the body. One more. Big open. Straight. Across the body. I lied. There's actually one more. Big open. Yeah, get into that groin. Don't worry if your hip is making noise. Okay, that's really normal. Across the body and boom. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take that left ankle. I'm going to cross over the top of the thigh. I'm not going to let the knee jam open. I'm going to allow everything to be nice and neutral through that low back. Ankle nice and flexed. Pick my right leg up to 90 degrees. Get my hands set. Left hand inside of left knee. Right hand inside of left ankle. Shoulders back. Collarbones nice and broad. Here I go. I'm going to create that push-pull. I'm going to push away as I pull towards. I'm just holding that. So this will be a form of what's called isometric tension. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and release my hands and just let my right leg, my right thigh come a little closer to the body. Again, I'm going to push, I'm going to pull. Good. And then I'm going to let that right leg come a little closer in. One more time here. This time we're going to use the breath. Hope you're all noticing the freckle on the bottom of my foot. Because we're going to push away and pull towards. Good. I'm going to take a big inhale through the nose. Exhale, relax, and then pull it in. Fantastic. All right, last little piece here on our backs. So I'm going to go ahead and release that. Shake out the legs if you need, especially if your hips feel a little cranky and tight. Okay, you're going to go ahead and grab that block. If you have it behind your head, you can take it away for this. And you're going to take it horizontally in between the inner thighs. More so up towards the knees if you can. Less sort of down towards the hip crease. More up towards the knees. All right, so we're just going to bring some attention to the muscles of the posterior body. So the glutes, the hamstrings, maybe even calves, depends. Everyone's really, really different. Okay, so we're just going to do a hold in the top position of a glute bridge. We're going to do it a little bit differently today. Let me just scooch over so you can see a little bit. All right, so first thing we want to do, and again, I discuss this a lot, everyone's low back is very, very different. For me, someone who has a big low back arch, I need to scoop the butt underneath me even more. If you have a low or like a mild low back arch, you may not have to do this as much. But I want to scoop the butt underneath me. I want to press down through my feet, and I want to drive my outer hips up. Now, once I get up there, I like to do another little scoop and scoop that underneath me. And now I really want to squeeze the block with the inner thighs. Everyone thinks that squat is all bum, all outer hip, but it's actually a lot inner thighs. The inner thighs allow you to kind of drive up in that bottom position. So we really, really want to utilize those inner thighs here. We're going to squeeze as we scoop the butt underneath us. And I'm going to hold here. Now, don't arch the low back. Don't drive up from the rib cage. Let the rib cage drop and scoop the butt underneath you. Press down through your big toes and your heels and just build a connection with the muscles of your back body. That's all we're trying to do. Just build a connection with those muscles. Now, from the low back and the bum, you're going to lower all of that down together. Now, I'm going to take my feet and I'm going to step them one forward out in front of me. So just one forward out in front of me. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to scoop the butt underneath me. I'm going to press through my feet. I'm going to drive the outer hips up. Okay, I'm going to lift as high as I can without letting my low back arch. And I'm going to scoop the butt underneath me a little bit more. I'm going to squeeze the block. Now, everyone's going to be feeling this in different places. No right, no wrong. Just build a connection with those muscles. That's all we're doing. We're putting the blood in the low body. Good. And then let everything lower down together. One more. You're going to take your feet one step further up in front of you, but maintain the big toes within contact with the floor. Scoop the butt underneath you again. Squeeze the block. Drive up through those outer hips. Okay. Now, this is where I feel the hamstrings the most. Okay. Again, everyone's going to be different. Little scoop underneath you. Squeeze the block and hold. Press down through those big toes and heels. Good. And then lower that all down together. Okay. Remove your block for a second. Walk all of that back in. We're going to do that again. Okay. Give your legs a little shake, especially, my hamstrings got a little tense there. If you get cramps in your hamstrings, don't worry. It's really normal. Grab a sip of water, release, try again. All right. Same thing. Block. Set up. My feet are in the first position I started in. Scoop the butt underneath you. Squeeze the block. Drive the outer hips up. Scoop underneath you and hold. Squeeze the block. Good. Again, just holding here. Building that tension. Scoop the butt underneath you. Drive the outer hips up. Squeeze and hold. Good. And then let your low back and your bum come down to the floor together. Same thing. Step your foot. Step your feet. One step forward. Scoop the butt underneath you. Squeeze the block. Drive the outer hips up. Scoop the butt. Squeeze. Let your rib cage drop down. Hold. Good. Let all that come down to the floor. One more here. Take the feet. One step out in front of you. Okay. Scoop the butt underneath you. Squeeze the block. Drive up through those outer hips. Scoop the butt even more if you need. Squeeze the block really, really hard. Find that tension in those posterior muscles. Hold. Lower all of that down. Good job. Release your block. I'm going to do one more of these. Give your legs a little shake. Whoo, whoo, whoo. Yeah, it doesn't look hard. When you do it, it's like, whoo, that is challenging. All right, so we're going to start back in that starting position. You guys know the drill. Last time here, squeeze the block, scoop the butt underneath you, press the feet, drive the outer hips up. Try to grab the floor with your hands, okay? Just try to be relaxed, okay? But really scoop that butt. Get it underneath you so that we're not arching to the low back. So we're actually utilizing the glutes. Squeeze the block really hard. Drive up through those upper hips. Okay, and then lower all of that down. Take the feet one step up in front of you. Okay, same thing. Scoop the butt underneath you. Squeeze the block. Drive up through those outer hips. Scoop that butt. Squeeze. Hold. Awesome. Lower down. One more here. Feet. Good. One more. Scoop. Lift. Rib cage relax. Scoop the butt. Squeeze really hard. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hold, 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 hold. Awesome, 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 awesome. Good. And then lower all of that down. Great job. Get rid of your block. Give your legs a little shake. Okay. That's it for on your back. Go ahead and prop yourself up. Okay. So we're going to talk about the ankles. Okay. So we're going to discuss the ankles a little bit more in depth a little bit later, but the ankles will be sometimes the deciding factor of how much depth you can get in your squat. So we're going to do something called an ankle matrix. So how I'm going to sit is I'm going to, let me just change my camera angle a little bit here, guys. Okay. All right. So how I'm going to sit is I'm going to sit in a position where my right foot is stepping forward, my left toes are curled under, and I'm sitting back on that heel. Now, if you've got arthritis in the big toe, okay, and this is too much, you can uncurl the toe, but if that's too much as well, you can step your lunge a little bit further forward, so it's not so tight, okay? Now, I want to mobilize the entire ankle from the big toe to the little toe side of the foot. We only focus on this part, okay, but the whole ankle needs to bend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the weight of my torso to push my thigh, like push into the thigh so that my knee surpasses my big toe. Okay, and I'll show you that from the side. Okay, so I'm just pushing there. Okay, and all I'm doing is building mobility in this position of the ankle, which is basically what your ankle needs to do in order for you to get into a squat. Okay, and you're going to hold there. Oftentimes, if people lack ankle mobility in their squat, their torso might kind of jump forward a little bit and their butt might lift a lot, or they'll feel like they can't lengthen through the spine, or they feel their knees a lot more. There's a lot of things. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean back and I'm going to turn that foot out like a ballerina foot, I call it. So I'm going to turn it out to like roughly, I don't know, whatever degree this is, 25 degrees, who knows. Okay, now all I'm going to do is I'm going to lean again. So now I'm trying to mobilize a little bit more into kind of like the baby toe side of the foot. Okay, and I'm just going to hang out there. Okay, I'm going to lean back. Now I'm going to pigeon toe my foot, and now I'm going to get into that big toe side of the foot. So I'm going to go ahead and lean forward. So I'm getting into that inner portion of the ankle. Okay, and then I'm going to come back to neutral. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lean on forward. So we're getting into that entire ankle joint. Awesome. Okay, go ahead and lean back. All right, now we're going to go back and forth into like kind of almost like a lunging matrix. So I'm going to go back to that starting position. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lean forward without my hands. Now I'm going to step forward like a lunge. Now into that lunge, I'm going to lean forward. Let my knee surpass my ankle. Let my heel stay on the floor. Then I'm going to scoot back to where I was. Sit back. You can use your hands for support. Lean forward. Lunge. Lean forward. Step back. One more of these. Lean forward. Okay. Step forward. Lunge. Lean forward. Step back. Okay, now I want you to actually stay in the lunge. And we're going to mobilize the groin a little bit, okay? Which is, again, part of those things. My friend Helen says her heels are lifting, then don't go so far. Okay, if the heels are lifting when you're doing the ankle mob, it's just telling you that your ankles are a little cranky. They may even be tight today. So don't go so far. Keep that heel on the floor. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to get into that groin. So staying in that lunge, all I'm going to do is kind of lunge forward. And as you can see, I'm getting into that left hip flexor. So I'm just lunging forward with my hips. Now I'm going to go ahead and come back. Now I'm going to take this foot and I'm going to step it over a little bit to the right, but see how my foot is a little bit turned out? Okay, now I'm going to lunge towards that big toe. Awesome. And then I'm going to come back. We're going to repeat that. Foot in front of you, lunge forward. Come on back, foot to an angle, lunge. Come on back. One more there. Foot forward, lunge into that groin. Come on back, foot to the side, lunge into that groin. Good, awesome. Come on back and relax. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to repeat everything on the left side. So again, in order to move the ankles, we have to keep the heel on the floor. Don't worry about how limited you are in those ankles. Don't worry. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the matrix on the other side. So I'm going to step my left foot forward. I'm going to curl that right big toe under. I'm going to sit the hip to the heel. Again, if this is not comfortable, make it bigger for yourself, okay? Don't stress too much, but another key thing is big toe mobility. So this is going to help as well. Okay, so let's get into that front ankle. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my torso weight. I'm going to lean it forward. You might notice maybe one ankle moves a little bit better than the other. That's just the nature of the game. So I'm getting that. Okay, and I'm going to lean back and I'm going to ballerina toe my foot and I'm going to lunge towards that baby toe side. Awesome. Come on back. Okay, now I want to pigeon toe and I want to lunge towards that big toe side of the foot. Good. And then I'm going to go back into the front, into that anterior ankle, and lunge forward. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my little lunge matrix. So we're going to do 3 of these. So first thing I'm going to do, lunge forward. Now I go and I step to the lunge. Good. Step back. Push that thigh bone forward. Step forward, lunge, and then let's lean forward into that ankle. One more here. Step back, lunge that thigh bone forward, and then step into the lunge. Awesome. Okay, now stay up here in your lunge. Let me just turn to face forward. And now we're going to get into the groin on that right side. So now I want to think about, instead of lunging my thigh forward and let my knee come forward, now I want to think about lunging my hips forward. So I'm getting into that groin. Come on back, take the foot out to an angle, and then I'm going to lunge over. And this one feels really good. I do this with my hockey players. Lean back, they like this one. Step, lunge those hips. Come on back, step, lunge. Come on back. One more here. Big lunge forward. Step back, 45 degrees roughly, and then lunge. And come on forward. Awesome. All right, we're gonna come forward to hands and knees. So we're gonna work with some controlled hip rotations. So hands and knees, again, if you've been joining me or you've been working with me for a while, hopefully you're understanding hand placement. We don't wanna have those wrist creases forward. We kink too much. Turn those hands out just a little bit. So go ahead and prop forward into your hands and knees position. Elbows are stacked under shoulders. Hands are turned out a little bit. Feel free to play around with it. Everyone is going to be different. Spread through your fingers, but make sure you're really turning your inner biceps forward and trying to maintain that the entire time. So knees under hips, toes are going to be curled under for support. I don't want my bum to scoop underneath me. I want to maintain a little low back arch, but I want to push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. Now, when we do those hip rotations, we don't want our low back to change or arch. We don't want our spine to go in all funky places. We want the rotation to come from the hip using strength and control, which is basically what mobility actually is. It's not stretching, it's strength and control. So I want to go ahead and I want to hover my right knee up off the floor, and I'm going to keep my ankle flexed. I'm going to pull my right knee as far into the chest as I can without changing my spine. Now I'm going to take a big circle up and over to the right. Circle up and back behind me until I can turn the inner thigh up to the ceiling. Then I'm going to pull the knee back into the chest. Then I'm going to reverse. Stand back, heel the ceiling. Now I circle big to the right. Pull the knee back into the chest and set down. Okay? So you're using control when you're doing this. You're not letting your body go all the way around. You're not arching through that low back. Let's do one more on that right side. So right knee lift, pull into chest, circle up and over, roll it back behind you, turn that inner thigh up to the ceiling, pull the knee into the chest, reverse, go back, push the heel to the ceiling, don't arch the low back, circle up and over to the right, pull the knee back into the chest, set that leg down. Awesome. Take a moment to relax. Come up off the hands if you need. I'm going to switch over so I don't hit my couch. Okay, and I'm going to do same thing left side. Don't worry about how high your leg is lifting. That is not a priority here. All right. So same thing. Hand placement set. Push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. Left knee lift. Pull it in. Circle big. Up and back behind me. Turn that inner thigh to the ceiling. Pull the knee into the chest. Try not to let your elbows bend. Go back behind me. Circle up and over to the left. pull that knee back into the chest, set down. One more here. Lift, pull in, circle big, turn the inner thigh up to the ceiling, pull back into the chest. One more here, reverse, circle up and around, pull that knee back into the chest, go ahead and set down. Great job. Okay, come to a seat. Okay, all right. So we're gonna dive, kind of so funny when my head is cut off. We're gonna dive a little bit more into the hips now, talking about rotation. When we squat, our thigh bone it's changing. It's moving in the hip socket, and it's changing in different ways for everybody. So it's really, really important that we address rotation. So that's what we're gonna start with now. So the position that you're gonna start in is what I call like a butterfly position. So I'm gonna bring my feet together, and my knees are gonna be open. Now, a butterfly would be more like tight. If this is making your knees pull up and you slouch, you might wanna go more with the diamond shape. So your heels are a little further away from your body. Honestly, I want you to choose what feels most comfortable to you. I like to be in between. I'm kind of like half diamond, half butterfly, okay? Now I wanna really glue my big toes together, and I wanna grab what I can grab. For me, it's ankles. And I wanna think about lifting up through my chest. Okay, now we're gonna repeat this a few times, so don't worry if you don't get this the first time. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rock my body over towards the right so that my right butt cheek is on the floor, my knee and my shin are on the floor, and now my left butt cheek is lifted. Now I'm gonna release my hands, and I'm gonna take this left leg, and I'm gonna scoop it behind me into a form of inner rotation. So this leg basically looks like this leg, except it's rotated in a different direction. Okay. Now, wherever my torso wants to go, whether it's towards the knee or towards the foot, from the hip creases, I'm going to see if I can fold forward and put my fingertips on the ground and just fold my torso over my thigh. Yeah. Okay. Then I'm going to slowly come out of that forward fold. And I want to take this leg back to my butterfly. Okay, and as I did that, that right hip lifted. So let's try the left side and then we'll repeat. So I'm gonna scoot over to the left, release my hands, take that right leg back into inner rotation. From the hips, I'm gonna fold forward and just let my fingertips come to the ground and just kind of relax here. Then as I push off without using my hands, I sweep that right leg around as the left hip lifts, feet go back together, butterfly. Let's try this again. To the right, release the hands, left leg behind you, fold forward. Good. Come on up. Sweep the left leg, feet together, lift, butterfly or diamond. To the left, right leg behind you, fold forward. Good. Come on up, scoop that leg, diamond. Let's do two on each side, but let's see if we can add the breathing into the forward fold. So to the right, left leg behind, inhale at the top, exhale, fold forward. Come on up, butterfly. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are getting it. Pull it in. To the left, right leg behind, inhale at the top, exhale, forward fold. Push on up, sweep that right leg behind, come back to that butterfly. This feels pretty good. One more here to the right, circle back behind the left, inhale at the top, exhale, fold forward. Good, come on up, circle, feet together, lift. To the left, right leg behind, inhale top, exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. Come on up, circle around, butterfly, and boom. Awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna do the forms of rotation that everybody hates. So this is the part that you may not like. This is the hard part about rotation. But your hips, not just in terms of your squat, just in terms of the integrity of your hip joint, we'll be so happy. We want to keep our hip joints strong and healthy, guys. All right, so we're going to come to the 90-90 position. I'm going to show you two ways because I'm probably going to do it on a little bit of an angle so it's easier for you to see me. But to get into it, what I want to do is I want to drop that right hip down. So I want to be like 90 degrees. So I'm dropping down. So I have a 90-degree angle from my ankle, my knee, and my hip. It's not perfect 90 degrees, but roughly, okay? So that butt cheek's on the floor. Now with my left leg, I'm going to swing that back behind me, okay? So let me just kind of show you in a little bit of an angle, okay? So this is where I am in my 90-90 position, okay? Ankles are flexed. Feel free to shorten this. Feel free to widen this. Now, we're going to work rotations with this back leg. I'm going to try to do it hands-free. The objective is to keep the right outer hip, the right outer knee, and the right outer shin down on the floor. I'm going to clasp my hands together. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean forward into that right leg. I'm going to pick my back leg up, and I'm going to circle it all the way in front of me until the heel is propped in front of the shin. Now notice how I didn't lift my right butt cheek off the floor. I kept that down. Left butt is off the ground. Now I'm going to lift and then circle right back where I was. Two more like that. Lean forward, lift, circle up and around, tap, keep that right outer hip on the ground, lift, circle up and around, hold. One more. Lean into that outer hip, lift, circle up and around, tap. One more here, lift, circle up and around, and hold. I'm just going to move this block because I feel like I'm going to kick it. Okay, good. Now, if you have to come out of this position, come out for a sec. Otherwise, we're going to stay here for a little bit. Now we're going to do an active form of a forward fold. So I'm going to take my arms out to the side with fists. Whatever direction your torso turns, that's fine. If you feel more comfortable more towards the foot, more towards the knee, that's really up to your skeleton. It will tell you where to go. You're going to be uncomfortable. Don't worry. It took me a long time to get semi-comfortable in this position, and I'm even not. All right, now with the forward fold, the objective here is to keep the spine really long. So I want to tense through my abdominals. I want to lift my chest, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold forward over that right leg. Now I want to keep my spine long from the head all the way to the hip, and I'm actively pushing that right outer butt cheek into the floor. It should feel like work. Then I'm going to come up. Again, I hold that tension. I come on forward into that forward fold. I push that right outer hip into the ground. Come on up. The objective is to not touch your chest to your thigh, guys. Hold the belly, lean on forward. Hold. Push that right outer hip into the floor. Go ahead and come on up. Awesome. Swing that left leg out in front of you. Give your legs a little shake for a second. Okay, it's kind of difficult to stay in this position for a long time. Okay, now we're going to stay on that right side, but we're going to work a little bit harder. So I'm going to go back to my 90-90 position. I'm going to rotate. I'm going to continue to face this way because it's just easier for you guys to see me. So now what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to lift the front leg up off the floor. So what I do is I put my fingertips on the ground. You may have to do palms, but I like to use fingertips because it keeps me honest. Okay. Now I want to use my abdominal and hip crease strength to do this. So all I'm going to do is hollow out my abdomen, and I'm going to try to take that front leg and I'm going to try to lift it up off the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. If it didn't lift easily, don't worry. Hollow the abdomen, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. One more. Hollow the abdomen, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Whew. Okay. Now we're going to do the back butt cheek. Lean forward. Clasp the hands. Lift the back leg up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Lean forward. Lift the back leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. One more, guys. Lean forward. Lift the back leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Circle that leg through. Give yourself a little shake. Now, if those didn't lift easily for you today, don't worry. Practice makes progress. All right, let's quickly go in and do everything on the other side. So again, you're going to get into that 90 position. like so. Okay, I'm gonna face on a little bit of an angle. All right, boom. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the circles first. So I'm gonna find, where does my torso feel comfortable? I wanna push that left outer hip into the floor. I wanna lean forward into that left outer hip, clasp my hands. I'm gonna lift the back leg, circle up and around until the heel taps. I'm not letting that left butt cheek lift. Lift, circle up and around, tap. This leg does not come up off the floor. Again, lean forward, lift, circle up and around, tap, lift, circle up and around, tap. Again, lean forward, lift, circle up and around, tap, lift, up and around, tap. Forward fold, make your fists. Push that left upper hip, knee and shin bone into the floor. Lift the chest, fold forward. Hold the tension. Go ahead and push off that leg, come on up. Again, lift the chest, tense the belly, fold. Good, push into that outer hip, come on up. One more here, hollow the belly, lift, fold. Good, come on up. Whew. Take that leg and give you a little break. I need a break. So shake your legs up. Okay, now we're gonna try those little lifts and then I swear we're gonna move away from this. All right, so come back to your 90-90. La la la. You're gonna hate this position, but your hips will help you, or thank you. So I'm gonna come back to using my fingertips. This side is a little harder for me. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna hollow through my abdomen. I gotta use my abdomen and my hip flexor muscles to lift the leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Hollow the abdomen, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. One more. I'm sure you guys are doing great. Hollow, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back outer butt cheek. It may cramp like crazy. You're fine. Don't worry. Clasp the hands. Lean forward into the front hip. Lift the back leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. I'm not gonna lie, I love this stuff. Lean forward, lift the back leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on down. One more here, guys. Lean forward, lift the back leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, come on out. Good, okay, let's get a little bit into the knee mobility. All right, now, knees are interesting. Everybody's got knees that do funny stuff, so don't worry if this feels a little awkward. So I'm gonna start with my knees under my hips. I wanna uncurl my toes for this, guys, and I want tons of cramping, I agree. Pointing the toes straight back, and I wanna sickle my feet. I wanna have them nice and straight. I'm gonna take my hands a little further out in front of me as opposed to hands and knees. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tempt those knees to bend and to release those calf muscles. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna proceed to start to shift back. And I'm gonna go as far as my knees tell me to. Maybe I can walk a little closer in, and maybe those hips can come right to those heels. Okay, if this is too much for the knees, or you've recently had a knee surgery, or you do have knee pain, maybe you can't go back as far today, and that's okay. You're just tempting that range of motion. Okay, and then go ahead and kind of walk and rock yourself forward. Okay, now if that felt really tough for you, that's where you're gonna stay. If you felt okay, you're gonna rock back, and maybe you'll bring your hands in a little closer to the body, towards the knees. So now you're getting a little bit more pressure there, and a little bit more bend and a little bit of pressurized compression on those calf muscles. If that's still not good, you might be kind of this person. So you see it's like, it feels a little bit different. Okay, let's go ahead and rock forward. Okay, now the most difficult one. Okay, if 1 and 2 felt good, you stay there. Otherwise, you're gonna shift back. Start there if that's good. Come here if that's good, or come here if that's good. Whatever one you're in, whether it's up here, whether it's here, or whether it's here, try to take 2 full breaths. Awesome. Okay, go ahead and just allow yourself to come forward and maybe just extend one leg back at a time. We are going to do some stuff in an opposite hip direction, so we're going to take those knees out of that bed position. Okay, you're going to need both of your blocks for this. All right, so this section is all going to be about strengthening the hip muscles, which are kind of helping us in the bottom position of a squat. Okay, so I'm gonna have both of my blocks handy. Again, I'm gonna go on a little bit of an angle because I'm gonna kick my couch when I do this. And actually it's gonna be a little bit easier for you guys to see. So we're gonna come to hands and knees. Okay, so go ahead and get yourself in your hands and knees position. Let me just find the position that's good. I think that should be good. Okay, so I'm gonna be in my hands and knees. Now, similar to what we did before with those rotations without moving our low back, now we're gonna take the leg and circle it all the way around. So what I'm gonna do in my hands and knees or quadruped position, I'm going to release or set my right leg over towards the right. And if I was to show you guys here, when I extend my right leg over, maybe I should go a little bit more forward because all you really need to see is my lower leg. Okay, so I'm going to extend my right leg over towards the right. But I'm going to scoot it a little forward in front of me. Okay, so here I was, hands and knees. I extended the right leg over to the right, and I just shot it a step in front of me. Now, I'm going to turn the inner thigh up towards the ceiling so my toes point up. You guys can see my toes there. Now, the most important thing about what we're doing here is maintaining the shoulder blades pushing to the ceiling and holding the belly muscles up. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that leg and I'm going to lift it and I'm going to circle it up and around back behind me. You can see how the toes turn to point down, and I'm going to tap. Okay? So let me show you again in a little different angle. I need a bigger condo, guys. So here I was, right leg over towards the right, turn the inner thigh to the ceiling, push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. I'm going to lift and circle up and around until I tap on the opposing side of that left foot. Hold the belly up. Now I'm going to lift and circle up and back, turn the inner thigh up to the ceiling until the toes face up. Again, push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, lift, circle up and around. Go ahead and tap, lift, circle up and around, turn the inner thigh up towards the ceiling so your heel's on the floor and your toes point up. One more there. Lift, circle up and around, tap, low back not arching, lift, circle up and around, turn the inner thigh towards the ceiling, toes face up. Great job. Let's do one more for good measure just because you guys are getting used to this. So I'm going to lift, circle up and around, tap, and lift, circle up and around, tap. Awesome. Take that right foot, step it forward like a lunge. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab my blocks now. So now I've got a lunge position with my right foot stepping forward, right knee on top of right ankle. And I'm going to grab my blocks, I'm going to take them to the tallest height on either side of that right foot. I'm going to go ahead and make my fists on those blocks. And we're going to do those strong little hip lift offs. So I'm going to strengthen the muscles of the hip, the quad, and those low abdominals. So as I push my fists down into the block, I want to really round and hollow through my abdominals. Let me just show you a little bit closer here. So instead of being in an arch position, I want to hollow through that belly. And then as I push down into the fists, the right foot picks up off the floor. I'm going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set it down. Keep the tension on the right side. Hollow, push down, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. One more there, guys. Hollow, push down to the fist, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the other side. We're going to do those full hip rotations. Okay, so again, I'm going to go on a little bit of an angle. Okay. Good. Okay, so I'm going to take my left leg, extend it over towards the left, but I want to set it out in front of me, and I want to turn that inner thigh up so the toes point roughly up. And this is the same starting and ending position. So here I go. I push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. I create tension through my abdominals, and I lift, and I circle, and I tap. I lift, and I circle. Turn the inner thigh up, tap. Good. Lift, circle. You can see how the hip naturally is rotating in the socket. You don't even really have to do anything. It's just doing that. Lift, circle. 2 more. Lift, circle. No bending the elbows, guys. And tap. Good. Lift, circle. Tap. 1 more. Lift, circle. Tap and lift and circle. Tap. Take that foot, step it forward like your lunge. All right, grab your blocks. Lunge position. Get those hip flexor, lift off. So let me stay on an ankle for you guys. So I'm gonna make those fists, curling my back toes under for support. I'm gonna hollow through my abdomen, through my upper body, and I wanna go ahead and push down and lift that foot for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down, hollow, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. 1 more here. Hollow, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop down. Awesome job. All right, guys. We're going to go into the bottom position of a squat now. Now, before we get there, I just want to do a few cat-cows. So like I mentioned when we first started, we got to open up that upper back spine. That's going to really help you in your squat. So I'm going to go ahead and come to hands and knees again. I'm sure you guys have all done cat-cow. We're just going to work to arch and round that spine. So your toes can be curled or uncurled. Doesn't really matter to me. We're only going to do 3 here. Okay? So as I inhale, I'm going to arch. So my bum goes up, my lower belly drops. I pull that chest forward and through the space between my shoulders. I look up. And then as I out breath, I push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. I scoop the butt underneath me. I bring my chin to my chest. Again, big in-breath, arch. Really get into that upper back, guys. Out breath, round, pull it up. 1 more, in breath. Arch. And out breath. Great. Go ahead and come back to neutral. Now grab both of your blocks. Okay, we're going to stack them. 1 on top of the other. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and sit. Okay, now, like I said at the beginning, everybody's structure is very unique. Everybody's squat is very unique. So when you place your legs on the floor, where do they naturally go for you? Where do you feel like you have the most space in your hip creases? Where do you feel like you can lean your torso forward? Where do you feel good? We can get into the mechanics of what your squat can be another time, especially when I start to see you guys more in person. But right now, I want you to figure out where's your squat. And for me, mine is quite wide. Okay, my toes turn out a little bit. We might have to play around with this a little bit. Now, we're just going to work holding that bottom position of the squat. And we're going to talk about those ankles. So let's do 1 rep together, and then we're going to see if allowing the ankles to elevate makes you guys feel a little better. So I'm going to find where I want to go. Maybe yours is more narrow. When I do that, I feel a little pinch. When I go wider, I feel spacious. So you guys got to play around with that. Feel free to email me, text me, ask me any questions about this. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean my torso forward a little bit. Now, some of you may have to lean a little further forward because maybe your thigh bones are really long. But as I lean forward, I'm going to take my hands out in front of me. Now, I want to really grab the floor with my big toes and my heels. And I really want to utilize that rotation that we worked on in that 90-90 position. I want to think about using my outer butt cheek to spread my knees. I want to think about tensing the insides of my legs like I did when we were doing the glute bridge. And I want to really think about using that bend in the ankle that we did when we did that mobility. So as I lean forward and I take my hands out in front of me, all I'm going to do is I'm going to decide how far do I have to lean forward to pick my butt up off the block. Okay, and you're going to hold that. I'm going to grab the floor with the big toes. I'm going to feel my knees spread. Now I want to find a lift of my chest. So I have a little bit of an arch through that upper back and hold. And then I'm going to go ahead and sit down. Now, if your squat looked like something similar to this, where your torso dropped down more than your bum. This could be due to your ankles. So what you can do is you can actually fold your mat up a little bit until you have a nice thick cylinder, and you can go ahead and elevate your heels on that. So your heels are elevated, on the toes are on the floor. And that might make a little bit of a difference for you to keep your torso a little bit more upright. So if you were that person that was folded forward, maybe you want to try this. Again, it may not be a super fix today, but with time, it might allow your squats to improve as your ankle mobility gets a little bit better. And I'm just going to sit a little further back here because I'm a little cut off. Okay, so we're going to try this. We're going to try these bottom of the squat holds. Feel free to elevate your heels. Okay, now I'm going to find where my legs want to go. So if we just practice that and you're like, oh, I feel like my legs need to go wider or more close, feel free to adjust that. Okay, so here we go. Arms out in front of me, grab the floor with the toes. I'm going to go ahead and lean forward, and I'm going to take my butt and I'm going to flick it off. Now I want to think about grabbing the floor with the big toes, finding my inner thighs. Feel like I'm sticking the butt just a little bit, but my torso, I'm not leaning back with the torso, I'm actually leaning forward. Hold there for 5 more counts. Good, and then go ahead and sit back down. Awesome, good. Let's try that again. Feel free to lean more forward if you need to. Okay, I've got short thighs, so I don't have to lean forward very much. But if your thigh bones are longer than your torso, you might have to lean a little bit more forward. So let's try that again. I'm going to lean forward, arms out in front of me. I'm going to flick the butt, push those knees open, really try to find the muscles of my lower body. Grab the floor with my big toes. Neck remains in line with the upper back. Hold there for 5 more counts. Good, and then go ahead and sit on back. Awesome. Let's try that again. You're working all that mobility. You have the ankles, the knees, and the hip. And that spinal mobility, you can see how it's all linked together to create this functional movement pattern of a squat. So arms out in front of me. Lean forward again. And go ahead and flick my butt. Good. Hold. 5. And 1. Go ahead and sit on back. Awesome. All right, let's add a little bit of spinal mobility to this. So I'm going to go ahead and just change so I'm facing forward towards you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and set those blocks up. And I'm going to go ahead and sit on forward to face you. Again, feel free to keep your heels elevated. And all we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of spinal rotation. So let me just change the camera angle just a little bit, because you know what my lower body is doing now. Let's get a little bit into that upper body. All right. So I'm going to go to my squat position, which for me is quite wide. Okay, now we're going to do this without the lift off first. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left elbow and I'm going to kind of lock it to the inside of that left knee. I'm going to turn my chest open. I'm going to take my right arm up and I'm just following that thumb with my gaze. So we're getting a little bit of that upper back rotation. Then I'm going to come back to center. I'm going to do the same thing the other side. I'm going to put the elbow to the inside of that knee. I'm going to turn the chest open, look up. Come back to center. Let's do one more. Elbow inside of left knee. Turn the chest open, follow the thumb. Come on back. Elbow inside of knee. Turn the chest open, up. Okay, now if you were someone who had to elevate their heels because your ankles are a little cranky, this might be a little challenging for you. Just try it. If this rotation doesn't work with the butt lifted, just go back to just holding the squat without the rotation. So we're going to come back to that little butt flick. So I'm going to take my arms out in front of me. I'm going to lean forward. I'm going to flick the butt. Now I'm going to take the left elbow to the inside of the left knee. I'm going to turn the chest open, right arm up. Come back to center. Right elbow inside of right knee. Turn the chest open, top arm up. Come back to center with that little squat. Go ahead and sit back down. Good. Now, again, if that felt really, really uncomfortable for you, just go with the hold of the squat. We're going to do one more of these and then a quick little cool down, and then you guys are done for today. So I'm going to turn back sideways to you. We're gonna do one more of those little rotation pieces, but again, if that doesn't feel good to you, you're just gonna hold the squat, or you can do the rotation without the butt lift. All right, here I go. I'm gonna find my position. I'm gonna lean forward, arms out in front of me. I'm gonna go ahead and flip that bum. Left elbow inside of left knee. Turn the chest open, right arm up. Come on back, right elbow inside of right knee. Turn the chest open, left arm up. Come on back to center, hold. Go ahead and sit on down. Great job, you guys. All right, quick little cool down. Go ahead and come up off of your blocks. You don't need them right now. So go ahead and get rid of them. We're just gonna take a little hip flexor stretch. Actually, keep them nearby because you might need them for this. Let's just do a little bit of a lizard stretch, just to stretch out those hip flexors. And then we're gonna end on our bellies. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna step my right foot towards the outer edge of my mat. I'm gonna scoot my back knee back as far as what feels comfortable. And I'm gonna keep the toes curled or uncurled, whatever feels better for me. And I'm just gonna rest my hands on the inside of the foot. I'm gonna pull my chest forward and I'm gonna hug that right inner thigh into the rib cage. If you're finding that your upper back, you're having a hard time pulling it forward, prop your hands up on blocks. Bring the ground up closer to you. I'm gonna pull the chest forward and I'm gonna take 2 breaths. Good, I'm gonna go ahead and shift back, walk my hands back, take that right leg back. I'm gonna switch sides. Left leg, outside of the mat, scoot that right knee back as much as feels comfortable, toes curled or uncurled, hands on the inside of the foot, pull my chest forward and hug that inner thigh into the rib cage as I sink the hips and lengthen through my spine. 2 breaths here. Good, go ahead and shift on back. Take that left leg back. Proceed to lie down on your tummies. We're just gonna take a little bit of prone belly breathing here, which is prone is laying on the belly. And then we'll be done from there. Okay, so lying on the stomach, I'm just gonna kind of fiddle around, get myself comfortable, decide where I like my legs. I like them quite wide. You guys decide what feels good for you. But the really important thing is that I want to push my hip bones down into the floor so that I can't actually slide my hand underneath my belly button. And I want to really feel like I'm squeezing my glutes here. I'm going to take the arms out in front of me. Instead of them being straight, just a little bit of a mild bend. So I've got a little bit of an arch through my upper back. And I want that arch to actually come from the upper back. So I want to push those hip bones down. I want to lift the chest. I want to drag the shoulder blades down my back so I have space for my neck. And we're just going to take a few moments here to breathe. And I want you to think about releasing any pressure that's built up in the belly, in the hips, in the low back. And just breathe in and out through the nose. And really focus on your belly pushing into the floor as you breathe. So I'm almost like pushing that belly out into the floor. Try to stay nasal if you can. Let's do 3 more breaths here. Very good. All right, go ahead and just let your forehead rest for a moment into your hands. Take 1 full breath there. And then go ahead and just push yourself on up, curl the chins under, push on up. Beautiful. Take a moment to stretch out that low back. All right, beautiful. All right, ready? There you go. So there is your mobility to improve your squat. This is even going to help with single leg work, which we do all the time, lunging, walking. Thank you so much for tuning and you're welcome so much. If you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them inside. Otherwise, you can shoot me an email at jen2ns@freeruninc.com if you had any questions about what we did today. Otherwise, hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and I will see you next time.